Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a Red Riding cloak, so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could go visit her grandmother, as it had been a while since they've seen each other.
That's a good idea,
her mother said. So they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take to her grandmother. When the basket was ready, the little girl put on her red cloak and kissed her mother goodbye.
Remember, go straight to the grandma's house. Don't do that along the way, and please don't talk to strangers. The woods are so dangerous, okay?
Don't worry, Mommy.
But when Little Red Riding Hood noticed some lovely flowers in the woods, she forgot to promise her mother. Little Red Riding Hood was enjoying the warm summer day so much that she didn't notice a dark shadow approaching out of the forest behind her. Suddenly, the wolf appeared beside her.
What are you doing out here, little girl?
The wolf asked.
I'm here to see Miss Rama who lives in the forest.
Little Red Riding Hood replied. Then she realized how late she was and quickly excused herself, rushing down the path to her grandma's house. The wolf, a little out of breath from running, arrived at Grandma's house and knocked lightly at the door.
Come in. Thank goodness. I thought something happened to you in the forest,
said Grandma, thinking that the knock was her granddaughter. The wolf let himself in. Poor Granny did not have time to say another word before the wolf gobbled her up. A few minutes later, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. The wolf jumped into bed and pulled the covers over his nose.
Who is it?
It's me, Red Riding Hood.
Oh, how lovely! Come in, my little Red Riding Hood.
When Little Red Riding Hood entered the little cottage, she could scarcely recognize her grandmother.
Grandmother, your voice sounds so odd. Is something the matter?
Oh, I just have a touch of cold.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
The better to hear you, my dear.
Grandmother, what big eyes you have.
The better to see you, my dear.
Grandmother, what big teeth you have.
Better to eat you, my dear.
Roared the wolf, and he leapt out of the bed and began to chase the little girl. Almost too late, Little Red Riding Hood realized that the person in the bed was not her grandmother, but a hungry wolf. She ran across the room and through the door, shouting as loud as she could.
A woodsman who was chopping logs nearby heard the cry and ran towards the cottage as fast as he could. He grabbed the wolf and may have spit out the poor grandmother, who was a bit fathered by the whole experience. Oh, Grandma, I was so scared.
Sobbed Little Red Riding Hood.
I will never talk to strangers again.
There, child, you learned an important lesson. Thank goodness you shouted loud enough for this kind woodsman to hear you.
The woodsman knocked out the wolf and carried him deep into the forest where it wouldn't bother people any longer. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandma had a nice lunch and a long chat.
So, how's your day?
Good. You good now? Yeah! Can I carry you? My baby, rock-a-bye baby! Come on, I'm gonna sit on you.
Siya na Siya na